Seriously, Lon? Are you in some kind of cult? I feel like you're going down a rabbit hole.
I will be talking with my mom just a little bit about the red pill perspective, how feminism has impacted our relationship, what she's seen take place from her generation compared to my generation. So we're just going to get into this podcast. Drop a like if you enjoy it, share the message if it helps you out and you want other people to receive this message and you can relate to it as well. Hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications, and let's talk about it. How has feminism affected you in your lifetime, and how has that influenced the way you raise me?
That's big. So, okay, I'm gonna start. I was born in the 1970s, so I'm 1970, and I was born to teenage parents, as you know, and so I came out of the generation of women. I was told my entire life that I could do anything that a man could do, and so I grew up with that mindset. I'm very strong-willed, as you know. I'm feisty. I thought that way until my 20s, even when I was in a relationship with your dad. I felt like I could do anything a man could do until Jesus got a hold of my heart, humbled me after the breakup with your dad, and then I realized that my thinking was totally upside down, and everything that I had learned in college and growing up in middle school and college was just actually destroying me from the inside out. And that's when I started with having my red pill moment, but I didn't realize it was a red pill moment until you actually started this channel, and then you started using all this verbiage, these names, calling it red pill and strange things like that.
What was your initial reaction when you first saw my channel?
That was bad. It was shocking. The images you were using on the internet were, as far as I was concerned, disgusting, filthy. I didn't like them at all. It just hurt me so much because I felt like that's not how I raised you at all, and I was pretty much devastated when I saw it. And when I started listening to your content and I started hearing the anger in your voice and the way you were talking about women, I was really, really hurt and heartbroken.
But was there ever at any point when you were listening that you said oh, I can understand, I can kind of see where it's coming from, I've seen women behave this way? Or was there a disconnect because your generation's just so far removed from the social media era that my generation deals with, and OnlyFans, and just the lack of accountability? And so many women are raised by single mothers nowadays, and I feel like it's more of an epidemic now with my generation than it has ever been before.
Well, there was definitely a disconnect at first, and my initial reaction was I wanted you to stop and not talk like that. And but I kept listening to your content, and I started seeing the message actually underneath all of the anger and the bitterness that you still had, and the unforgiveness towards these young women that you had dated in the past. And actually, I didn't like them either, so I didn't think that they were healthy for you at the time. I saw signs, and at the time you wouldn't listen to me, so you were down that rabbit hole in this relationship. And now I look at it now, and you call it simping, and I looked at you back then, and I was like, stand up for yourself. And I was always trying to talk to you about standing up and not letting these women talk to you this way, but you were so involved with them, and you were hooked, and I became your enemy, so you couldn't hear me at all, and that was heartbreaking. So once I started listening to your content, fast forward to just in January, February, when I found your channel and I was listening to your content, I understood why you were saying the things you were saying. I didn't like it, but I could hear the message underneath. And as a mom, I started thinking, you know what? I want other young men out there to hear this message before they go down the path that I saw you go down, starting as a teenager with your first girlfriend in high school and then through college, and just watched how it destroyed you almost to the point where, I mean, you lost your basketball scholarship, you were suicidal. I mean, I got a call from your coach and telling me that you had gone missing and you were suicidal, and that was the hardest thing for me to hear. So I thought at this point, and you were unreachable to me at that point, so I thought, after hearing your channel, I said, more men need to hear this, more young men need to hear this, and more men, you need to guide these men, show them the pitfalls that you went through, because there's no way their moms are going to be able to reach them. I was not able to reach you. And anyway, so then my attitude towards your channel has been changing slowly.
How have you seen feminism affect women your age? Because I know it's different each generation, how feminism's affected each generation. So women your age, I'm sure, are affected completely differently than my generation.
That's a good question. Well, I know that I see, it's very shocking to me to see people my age in on their Instagram posts in bikinis, who, these are my friends, they have children your age, and they're putting all of their body parts out there on the internet, and that makes me feel really uncomfortable, makes me feel sad for their children, because I can only imagine, and I've talked to you about this before, I'm like, how would you feel if I had myself in bikini poses out there on Instagram? I feel like you wouldn't have any respect for me. I wouldn't have any respect for myself. So to see women seeking attention like that, even at my age, I'm 50, is it shows me that our culture is very, very sick.
I think part of taking the red pill, at least the process I went through, was accepting the fact that women really, the two things they value is attention, and I'd say a guy that they can leech off of. And unfortunately, due to feminism, that's what's promoted, and a lot of times attention is greater than love in the minds of a lot of women. So if they're only getting attention from, just say, like their husband or their boyfriend, the dark reality of the truth is she needs attention from every man. She needs more attention on social media. She needs attention from the neighbors. She needs attention from the gardener, whoever it is. She's not just satisfied with that one man's love and his affection, his interest in her. She needs to have access, to have other men notice her, and have other men realize that, hey, I look good, and I pay attention to me.
Okay, well, I definitely agree with you if you're talking about secular women. And you know that, I'm a Christian, so I didn't grow up as a Christian, so I can relate myself and my mindset to before I came to know the Lord and after I came to know the Lord. So before I came to know the Lord, yes, my family, my mother, everyone was telling me to accentuate my body parts, to look good. My value came from how much attention I got from men. And
was that promoted in your family?
Yes.
By other women?
Yes.
So you grew up
mom, grandmother. Yep.
So other women, in a sense, trained you.
Yes.
Okay.
This is where my value, they would train me that my value lied in how I looked and how much attention I could get. So yes, what you're saying is absolutely right. That is the mindset of secular women. But
was that a learned behavior, you think? Do you think that your mother, your family members were promoting these things and telling you that your value comes in how much attention you get from men? Do you think that was learned or taught to them by other women?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it was taught to them by women, by the culture at that time, the 1950s. Lola grew up in the 1950s and the 1960s, and then her mother before that from the Philippines. Her value was always in appearance.
Okay.
And how you could be appealing to a man. So yes, that was passed down to me. Once I became a Christian, once I saw that my value came from God and God alone, and how He saw me, and how Jesus just approves of me, approves of us if we belong to Him. I didn't need to seek out attention from anyone else anymore. It didn't matter. I just fell in love with Him, and all. Now with my husband, your stepfather, and wherever I am, I don't need attention from anyone. I don't need to put myself on Instagram. None of that matters to me. I seek the approval of one person, one alone, and that's the Lord. So I think that you're right in the sense that a lot of women are seeking that, but that you're talking about secular women. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of people who call themselves Christian who are still seeking attention, but if you are really a born again from above Christian who's seeking a relationship with the Lord and active in that, you'll have a totally different mindset.
But it took you trials and errors as well to eventually adopt that Christian mentality and
Absolutely.
become a Christian, because you were raised with a certain way of thinking
Yes.
and behaving.
The opposite.
And instead of seeking God's approval or Christ, you were seeking the approval of man and how much value they perceive through your looks.
That's right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So how does your Christian faith affect how you see the value of young men and young women today?
Okay, well, like I said, I just feel like our value is in Christ, how He sees us. So if you're looking for it in what kind of car you drive, if you're a man, if you're looking at it in how perfect your body is and how blemishless your face and your skin are as a young woman, you're going to be upset, because we're all going to age, cars rust, and so you're always going to be falling short and unhappy. But if you find your identity in Christ, which is what I want to instill in you and in my students, because I'm a teacher, and in my nieces and nephews and family members, then the world will not touch you in terms of your confidence, because your confidence isn't coming from the world. It's coming from Christ.
I know earlier we were talking about OnlyFans and the girl that made, or the young woman I should say, that made $100,000 in one day on OnlyFans, and how that's sort of like the mindset, not the mindset I wouldn't say of all women, but it's definitely, it's appealing, and it's something that women can look at and see, well, hey, if this woman is able to post pictures of her body or videos of just herself or her day-to-day life and make hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes millions of dollars at the end of the year, why do I need to go to school?
Yeah.
Why do I need to really try in life in general? So what is your thoughts on that, especially being a teacher? How do you combat that in your own opinion?
It's heartbreaking. That's the opposite of everything that I stand for, that I believe in. And I've been teaching for 27 years now, and how do you combat that? How do I talk to these little girls in my class and teach them their value, and have the culture on the outside when they go home and they're listening to music and watching TV telling them the exact opposite, and trying to get them, they get a minimum wage job after going through school, and they're going to make 1/3 of the amount they can make just showing their bodies off. It is heartbreaking to me, and I really don't know how to combat it except trying to push back, talk, be open about, be verbal about it, and continue to do what I'm doing in the classroom. There's nothing to do but push back. This kind of conversation to just make it aware. Hopefully there's young men out there who are maybe going to start a family one day, or who are brothers, who are out there, uncles, cousins. They can be aware of it and then push back against it. But there's a lot of men who are buying this stuff and making it marketable too. So it's a whole systemic cultural illness that we all are suffering from.
Yeah, I always feel like this is a small community of probably maybe 200 to 300,000 men in the world compared to the billions that are simps. So we're trying to combat against that, because them promoting this kind of stuff, them continuing to sponsor and support these women, it's going to ruin society. It already has. But the long-term ramifications of this will affect generations moving forward, I feel like. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I'm glad you're talking out, and even though, at the beginning of this channel I was not happy, I am understanding it more and more, and I'm seeing the need for it more and more.
Guys, if you enjoyed the podcast, the interview, let me know in the comments if you want to see this type of podcast format again. If you have any questions, is there anything else you want to say before you wrap things up?
Just God bless you, and I pray that God would continue to give you wisdom as you go forward in this channel, and shape you and shape your thoughts and shape your words to help people.